All right. This first hour won't be a full hour. It's not a lot to do this time, except talk about the syllabus. I'm gonna do a whole bunch of stuff in the next 2 hours after that. Hi, everybody. I'm Professor Jones. I am an alumni of COS. I graduated from here in 2012, I think, 2011, 2012, and I went to UC Merced. Got a 4.0 in applied mathematics and physics, and went to UC Santa Cruz for graduate school. And when I was a student here, I was tutoring in the Macy Center, which I'll tell you guys about today. And the dean stopped by frequently, and he saw me doing a good job, and he said, if you decide to teach, come back and we'll get you a job. And so when I was at Santa Cruz, it was not on my agenda. I did not, teaching wasn't something I was thinking about, but I really got to enjoy leading discussion groups for the undergraduate students as a graduate student. I thought, you know what, let's give that a try. And I came back and worked part-time for a year and was hired for full-time in 2017. But I am from here. I started in this fucking class. Well, the pre-COVID version of this class. It was Algebra 2, it was called Algebra 2 back then, but it was this class. So if you're dedicated and you wanna, whatever you wanna do, you can do it no matter where you're starting. This is
in our PreCalc A is Algebra 2, essentially.
It's college algebra. It's focuses on algebra 2. We are going to use this 335 hour for stuff that you might have forgotten how to do leading into that stuff. So as we're not doing any lecture today, but on Thursday, we'll have a lecture in the afternoon after this class, and I'm going to look at it and go, what should we talk about before that to kind of refresh your topic, your skills on that stuff before we go into it. That'll probably happen about half the course. After that point, we will have gone over a lot of the refresher shit, and then we'll just use this hour to go over extra problems, give you more practice. Because that's how you get good at math. You don't get good at math by watching me talk. The videos don't do a goddamn thing. You learn by doing. It helps to mimic what someone else is doing until you figure out what's going on. Once you comprehend, you're good to go. I do not have the 335 class up in Canvas. Everything you'll need is through here. Because it's confusing for students when you have had two classes. For most of you are going to view this course and the course after it as all one course because it's math. It's your math course. So why have two Canvas courses? It's all in one. I will frequently post stuff and announcements. Please check that frequently. Syllabus has good stuff. It's what we're covering on each topic. Like today, we're going to be doing an orientation. On Thursday, I'm going to be doing an orientation in section R1. I'll show you what that means in a second. It will tell you what days we have a test, an exam, and stuff like that. I am recording live on Zoom. Yeah, I don't think they can see you. The camera's facing me. But if you're sick and you need to stay home, you can always zoom in. There's a link right here on Hefe's Zoom room. I'll take you right to where we're at right now. Obviously, most students do better in person. So don't use it as an excuse to stay home all the time, because you will tend to do not as well as you would if you came. It's really easy. I know it is to get distracted when you're at home. You don't have to, I can't see students at home. So I know when during the pandemic, I took a couple classes. I took a creative writing course here. And I took 2 computer science courses here. And I know it was really, really easy to pull out my phone when I got semi-distracted. And I thought I knew what I was doing. And the next thing I know, it's 15 minutes later, I don't know where we're at in the lecture, and I don't know what we're doing. And I eventually just put the phone down. It's really hard to do, though, when you're at home. So be here if you can. This gives you the actual topics and stuff. You can also see the syllabuses here. This has The M335 spring, that's SP for spring 24 syllabus. That's for our next class, the 3 to 5 class. And this is for our support class. There is an online Math 35 that I'm going to be sharing these videos with as well. They're going to be using the new program as well. So I put you all in one thing. Since we're doing the Math 335, we'll just take a look at that for now. It has my email. My office is a couple doors down. There's a sign on the door that says, I'm a math teacher. Of course, I've got problems or some shit like that. That's where I'm at. I'll be in there from 5. It'll be after class. So and if you come early, you might catch me in there because generally I show up, I don't know, at least a half hour early to see if there's anything I need to print out or go over. And if you have questions that you want to ask before then, that works too. There's 2 ways we're doing this. I am using Mr. Blakely's online textbook. He's another teacher here, but he was one of my teachers when I was a student here. And I thought it was for pre-calculus, oddly enough. And I loved his class. And since it's free and easy to access, we're going to use it. Like chapters 1 through 8 are like beginner algebra, and that's kind of like what we're going to be reviewing in this course as we hit it. But we're going to start at chapter R and go downward. This is what the one we'll be doing on Thursday. Let me enlarge it. If you have a problem, it's hard to see, please sit in the front. I don't bite. He's got the examples worked out pretty well, showing steps pretty well. What I'm going to do when I'm going over the lecture is I'm just going to pull questions from the bottom exercises and go over the exercises. And so you'll see how I do it, how Mr. Blakely did it. Lots of resources. But that is our that's going to be our textbook website, and the link is on the syllabus. And I'll probably make it a link on the left. I could make it a link. I can put it over here. So I'll probably put a link over here as well. After tonight when I get home. The last day to drop without a W is January 29th. What is that? Day is that? 2 weeks from now on a Monday. And then March 22nd will be the other drop date, where you'll have a W. After that, whatever you've earned in the class, you'll get. For how you will be graded, we're going to be doing homework in the ALEX program system. It does adaptive learning, which means each student's homework is tailored to their personal needs. When you start, you log into the homework for the first time, it is going to ask you to do this initial knowledge check. There's 25 questions. Give yourself a couple hours to do it, but you might fly right through it. That might take you 2 or 3 hours, but don't blow it off. It will take what you do, how well you do, and go, okay, you've mastered topics A through X and maybe Z, but you didn't know how to do V, Y, and W. And it will not give you any homework for shit you already know how to do. So the homework has a lot of problems in it if you skip that. Because it's assuming you don't know shit. And if you don't know shit, you need to do a lot of practice. But if you take the initial knowledge check seriously, you can take a 2-hour homework assignment and cut it down to 20 minutes. Depending on how much you remember. Probably later in the semester, there will be less stuff that you remember. I'm assuming most people have taken some form of algebra in high school. It may have been a while, and if it wasn't, if it was during the pandemic and your teacher went off easy on you, you may not remember as much. But we'll work on fixing that. So everything leading up to the midterm, the homework it will count for your grade in the main course, but it will also count for 80% of your grade in this course. And then the midterm will count for 20% of this course as well. And that's kind of like, once we've hit that point, all of like the review is done. And if you've shown you remember everything and you don't end up passing the class, but you did well in this support course, you won't need to take the support course again. Let's go take a look at Alex. Really? Not gonna do it? Is it a empty link? There it goes. Oh, pop-up block. So my computer blocked the pop-up. Yours might do it as well if you're using Windows. Up here on the left, if something's not working, look up here on your browser for like a little tiny red X. I can't make it larger, unfortunately. But it does pop-up blocks. When you first do it, try to do it again and see if it pops up. It says it right there real quick, and then it shrinks down so you can't see it. I would always enable it and say yes. You might have to, once you've done it, hit refresh. If you use a Mac, I don't know how to do it. You should have looked.
It went straight through on my Canvas app.
Okay. I need the Canvas app on the phone. Like the drop down bars on the left are fucking hard to find, and there's a lot of shit there. There's a lot of teachers who use this for links and stuff, but like whenever I'm doing it, it's like the last thing to load on my phone.
It's all on the dashboard right here.
If you figured it out better than I do, knock yourself out. Okay, I'm going to show you what the assignments look like, how much time is for each, which is, let's see if I can enlarge it. So I kind of have these set up by weeks, each week. So like what we do next Tuesday and Thursday will show up as homework on Thursday, and you'll have a week to do it. It says an estimate of 4 hours and 45 minutes. I want you to, when you like, that's fucking discouraging, right? If you scroll, the next one says 5 hours, 4 hours, but if you scroll down, they start getting shorter with like 2 hour ones. And this is assuming that on your initial knowledge check, you didn't get shit right. So when you get shit right, and this one has like 50 topics, so there's like 50 questions. But if you got over half of them right, this is going to cut your assignment in half. So do that initial knowledge check seriously. Take your time. Don't rush it. Don't cheat. Like it's easy to look shit up and plug it in, but if you don't know how to do it, you're fucking yourself if you cheat there, because you'll never have any homework on it, and this class is not going to be easy. At the end of the semester, after every couple of weeks, there's a post-module knowledge check. It's kind of like a quiz, but it's not like graded like a quiz. It's just like, hey, what did you remember from the last couple of weeks? There's a few problems in it, and it will refresh your memory on some of the shit you might have forgotten over the last couple of weeks. At the end of the semester, after everything is done, there is something called the cumulative learning goal. As you're learning shit, this pie is a pie thing, and it will fill in how much you know. That's going to factor in this part of your grade as well. So if you already know a bunch of stuff and you don't need to do a lot of homework, grading you on homework isn't effective if you don't have to do anything. So this counts as part of your grade, and in the homework section, and then doing these weekly assignments. So don't get discouraged by the estimated time it says. This is for the average student. Some people go slower, some people go faster. And with us reviewing shit, if you wait till, well, you kind of have to, because there's start dates on here that I cannot bypass. I don't know that I can allow students, there might be a way to work ahead, but I haven't seen it yet. This is my first semester using Alex, so we're going to be doing this together. That's why it's free for you guys. So if you can find any tricks or anything that you think is fucking handy, let me know. I'll share it with the other students. Take the initial knowledge check seriously. That's that. The idea is when you're going through questions, if you if it's clear you're not sure what you're doing, they're gonna give you stuff give you more questions that's previously in the sequence. Like if we're doing some harder out, like step B, and it looks like you're not doing well on step B, they'll throw a question from step A at you first. And go, okay, did you remember how to do this? Let's check on that. And so for each student, it will go at your speed of what you need to do. Some students have to do a lot of homework, some students don't. College is different than high school. And I know like math and science courses, like the physics and chemistry are like the only ones that really have this thing in it. But for every hour you're in person, you're supposed to have roughly 2 hours of homework. So like 4 hours a week of lecture should have 8 hours of homework. And most students never do 8 hours of homework for any class. And so they think the math class has way too much homework. You have what you do to learn it. Don't get discouraged. There are lots of resources after I'm done with the Zoom lecture. Zoom takes a little while to process it, but I upload it to YouTube, and that will be under Hefe's videos. I'll tell you about Hefe. I'm Professor Hefe. I'll tell you about that later on. This takes you to playlists. These are previous semesters. They're going to be fun. They follow a different book and a different pattern. So like going by the letters and chapter numbers and stuff is not going to be helpful if you want to look at old videos. I am going to make a new playlist starting today, 2 playlists, one for Math 335 and one for Math 35. And the playlist will say using Alex on it. And you'll be able to come in here and watch the videos if like you're sick or you go out of town or fucking people do it all the time. Spring break comes up. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Spring break comes up and then like go on spring break. The family wants to go do something. Family doesn't want to do it on a fucking spring break. So family goes like a week early. The student leaves a week early. Then they have spring break off. And then you had 2 weeks off and you get them back and there's like, you've already done like 10, 12 weeks of the semester and you're burned out. You're like, no, I'm fucking done. Don't tap out right before the end of the semester because we still got the final and everything after that and you will fail. I can't tell you how many students I've seen going into spring break or Thanksgiving, doing fairly well, B's or A's, and then just stop showing up, stop doing homework, and end up failing. And I know it's because of the fucking break. So you'll be able to find it there. You can also, if you're on YouTube, just look for Professor Hefe. You will see my face. Go there, click on. This will show ones I'm doing. I'm also teaching Computer Science 1 and Computer Science 2 this semester. They'll have videos pop up here. Probably the easiest way is to go into playlists and find the playlist for our class. That's if you missed the course or missed lecture. For the first week, and I'm going to be saying this again in a little while, we're only lecturing, doing like one little bit of lecture. You got a lot of like that initial knowledge check and some review problems for the math. This is stuff that is college related, some math related, but some assignments I want you to do. Usually it's watching a video and just typing up your response to it or something like that. What made you think of it? One of them you definitely need to do is introduce yourself. The only people that will see the introduce yourself is people from the 3 to 5 class, not the online students. I'm supposed to keep the classes separated when I merge them in Canvas. I'm not supposed to have you guys see each other's discussion groups, so they're separated, but you guys will be taking the 335 class with the other students. And so you can see stuff there. Do this by Thursday night. Just come in. You don't have to say a lot. Minimum is just say your name. Hey, I'm here, checking in. I gave you an example of what, like, mine's a little long. You can actually, I'm going to go over some of this stuff in a slideshow in a half hour or so. But the more you share, the more I know about you, the more I can actually help you. I have students all the time ask me for scholarship reference letters, job reference shit. I have a job reference letter request sent today. Where's Christian? He's applying for a program on campus. You want to write a recommendation? I know a lot about Christian. He's said a lot. He's introduced himself and chats with me. And I'm going to write him a good letter of recommendation. Grades you'll be able to see here. It's all exciting. You won't be able to see the online students. When after this first week or after you finish this orientation module, you'll see less than I have here, because I don't know if you can see it here. This says making time for what's important, making time for what's important online class. It's two different posts that to keep the group separated. So you guys will see less. And some of it's extra credit that you have 3 or 4 weeks to do that'll count towards the class. There's a little syllabus quiz. So, and when you go to do it, the syllabuses are there. You can have the syllabus open and looking at it. The idea is, you'll have at least skimmed it to know where to find the answers to the questions that teachers get emailed like fucking 100 times every semester. How much is this part? What is this worth? When's this? When's that? When are the tests? And if I make sure that you've looked at the syllabus, you'll have seen where you can find all this information. After you've done the orientation, everything will show up here. Your homework will show up here by week number. I think when you guys click review topics, it will take you to the initial knowledge check first, which will affect even this topic thing, this thing here as well. Any questions? Okay. Let me hit stop recording. I don't know that I missed anything that I'm not going to say in the next 2 hours.